This is it. This is it. Babe, the time has come. Are you excited?
I don't know that the time has come.
This is close to the 13th. Today is the 12th.
But that doesn't mean that the time has come.
You've not had these pains before.
No, but you can have them for a long time, maybe.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome to our channel.
Yes, we want to share with you how our sweet family grew from 2 to 3 and all of the good and
The
not
bad
so
and
good.
the awesome.
I think when you, especially with your first, you don't have much to compare it to. And if you've watched our other videos, you know that we really didn't do much preparing, or I didn't really research a lot. I just wanted to go in blind. So we gave birth on Sunday. So start from Friday.
So on Friday we had an appointment
Yes.
with the doctors, so we went.
This was our last appointment. I was 39 weeks. I was going to be 40 weeks on Monday. Every appointment up until this very appointment, he has told us we're right on track, everything's going well,
Right.
baby is ready. So I even thought we were going to give birth early. We go to this appointment and he's like, no. My fear was that for that doctor specifically, there's a weight limit for the baby to be a certain size, and they don't allow you to give birth naturally, then they want you to have a C-section instead. So my fear was that he's telling us we have to wait potentially another week, which could then increase the baby's weight and then would require us to have a C-section rather than the natural birth. Anyway, so that whole thing was there. I had peace the entire pregnancy. Everyone kept asking, are you scared? Do you have fears? Anything, nothing. I was not scared, which was weird because you would think that I should be, but I completely had peace. After that appointment, I started losing a bit of that peace, and I was really feeling defeated because I was at peace the whole time. I was confused why this was happening.
Fast forward to Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday afternoon.
We were home and
We were just home, really doing nothing, because at this point we thought my due date is in 2 days, we're just relaxing and also kind of defeated from the news from the day before.
right.
And then Cosmos checks his phone and has 3 missed calls or something
Oh yeah.
from our pastor, and which is odd, maybe 1 missed call if he's checking on you, but he's calling multiple times. We're like, what's going on? And Cosmos is like, what do I do? Call him back and see what's going on. So you call him back.
And then our pastor says, I'm in the area. I'm just in the area where you guys live. I was thinking about you. I want to come through and then pray for you guys. I know there's something going on. I just need to pray with you guys. And then I was like, sure. But the house wasn't very welcoming and all.
Yeah, and mind you, he had never been here, so obviously we wanted our house to be presentable for him. We have cats, so our cats' toys were everywhere. But also, we were just in comfortable clothes, we were just relaxing. Anyways, not that you have to dress up for your pastor, but I think because I felt so defeated and uncertain about what was going on, because I had peace, and then yesterday or the day before, I lost that peace a bit. Then I was like, no, have him come, anything to just give us that faith again. And so he came.
Yeah.
And he asked how it was going and everything, and we had told him about the day before. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry about that, let's pray, and then maybe in the coming days, since we're in our minds going 41 weeks,
Right.
He'll come back with his wife and pray again with us and stuff, and just walk through that process.
Right.
And so we're okay, yeah, he came, he prayed with us, which was such a blessing.
It was good.
And then after that, I was like, okay, people are fighting for us, people are standing in the gap for us, praying for us, I need to do the same. I can't be doing less than what other people are doing for us. So then it gave me that encouragement, okay. So that's what happened Saturday afternoon. And then Saturday night,
Mind you, we're fast. We don't know what it looks like to be pregnant, what the contractions look like and anything. And every time they ask us from the hospital if we've had contractions, we say, not yet,
No.
not sure.
Well, every pain that I had or discomfort, Cosmos was like, you're having a contraction. Like
Right.
weeks and weeks up to birth. And I'm like, no. So we went to bed. Like everything was normal. We went to bed. And then I was having like the worst stomach pains. And I was so frustrated because I was so tired.
Right.
I just wanted to sleep. And it finally got to the point that I was like stretching on the bed or something, and Cosmos was like, what are you doing? And I was like, my stomach hurts.
So you say you have this pain.
This is it. This is it.
Yeah.
And I was insistent that it wasn't. And I went back and forth trying to sleep. Like I went out of the bed to try to like stretch my stomach. And then I would go back in bed and try to sleep. And within like the next 5 minutes, I was awake again because of this pain.
Right. So I got up and got the app, and then I started timing the pain. I didn't know that there were contractions, but I just wanted to time it and then know.
Finally,
Sure.
like it started getting worse. Like I was in
Seriously?
denial probably for like an hour or two, like just dealing with it, because usually like I'll try to tolerate pain as long as I can before I like give it attention. I don't know if that's a good thing or bad, but that's just what I do. And so that's what I did for this until like it really wasn't going away and it was getting worse. And I was like, maybe these are contractions. Like maybe that is what's happening.
No, you were like, call the doctor and let him know what we're going through right now. And then shout out to Lex's mom. She was here. She was
Just sleeping.
She was very excited. She couldn't wait for the baby to come, and she was like a very, very excited lady. Hi, mom. And we started feeling these things, but we couldn't tell her because she panics. Like she panics a lot. So
Well, not necessarily that. It was in the middle of the night, mind you. This is probably at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. Like
yeah,
we were not gonna wake her up, and the pain was bad, of course, but it wasn't like it was like manageable. Like I
Oliver's waking up.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oliver's on taking a nap in the bedroom right now, but we have his monitor over here, so that's why I keep watching.
Oh my goodness, he's gonna cancel the recording.
He won't cancel. He'll just have to join us.
Oh goodness, it's so amazing. Anyway, so then what happened is that we packed everything that we needed, the baby carrier, all the necessities of the hospital, and we drove to the hospital.
And it was beautiful because since it happened in the night, there was like no traffic, which was such a blessing.
Yeah.
So then we got there fast, and then, well, first we woke my mom up before we left, and we told her what was happening, and she was like so confused and was expecting me to be like in tears, but like I was just trying to like focus, and yeah, it was fine. So anyways, we get to the hospital, and we expect like to get right in and to do whatever we're doing. That process of like signing in was so slow. I don't know if it was because it was in the night or what, but by the time we got there, I remember the contractions being worse because I remember walking from the car to the chair, and then they called me. I don't know if it was to get the IV thing in or what.
Yeah.
But I remember saying I can't walk right now. Like, give me a second. Do you remember that? Like, you went ahead of me, and I was like, just give me a second because the contraction was happening.
Yeah, it was so serious, but then he's crying.
Okay, Oliver's awake.
He will
I'll be back.
For the fourth time.
For the fourth time, Oliver gave us some time to film, which is a good thing. We had an agreement. So continuation, we're gonna pick it up from farther back and just go ahead. So we arrive at the hospital in the morning at around 3 a.m. and they start working on Lexi, and they put on the IV, and they were just drawing some blood to check some other things that we didn't know. Then they assigned us to a room, which was amazing.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. I forgot about that part. They drew my blood, but because I was like so dehydrated, they couldn't get the blood out. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And they were like shaking my arm. Oh gosh, it was terrible. And they're like, should I redo it? And I was like, at that point, no, because I remember her trying to do it. It was painful.
So we get into the room. She changes into those funny gowns.
At this point, it still didn't seem like, to me, it didn't seem like I was going to give birth. Like, I was still at peace. I had no fear. Like, there was nothing in my mind that was like, oh, we're going to see our baby.
Yeah, it was different because like and your mom was texting.
Was texting you. Like, I didn't have my phone or anything. Like, I'm not usually one to always have my phone in general, but especially now, I was just like, I don't really need it. There's nothing important, I guess. So, like, you were dealing with anything of that sort. So we were just in the room. After they checked us in and all of that, we got into the room, sent some messages to, like, I think I had you text my mom and my dad, like, just those two people. Right. Oh, and our mentors, Brett and Bobby.
Yeah.
To let them know. And our pastor. I guess we text a lot of people. We wanted to tell our pastor since he had just came to pray for us that day.
Yeah.
So we were in that room. The contractions are getting worse, but they're like, no. They were checking me. They're like, no, you're not dilated enough to go into the laboring room. So I was like, okay. Next thing I know, within like a couple minutes, they came back and were like, we're going to the laboring room. And I was like, why are we going to the laboring room? They're like, you're going to labor from there. So the first thing was like, the contractions are good. They're where they should be, but you're not dilated enough. So then it was something to help me get dilated or something happened. I don't know if they gave me medicine or what. But then after they gave me that, then the contractions were often, but they weren't long enough. So then they decided to give me medicine to make the contractions more intense. Mind you, I had no idea that this was happening, and I was beyond frustrated when I found out that they were giving that to me. Like, I specifically remember that moment being so frustrated when I found out that's the medicine that they gave me, because the contractions already were like, I wasn't getting breaks. So the fact that they were giving me medicine to increase them didn't make sense to me. Like, I feel like they just didn't communicate to us, and they just gave that to us.
Right, and...
Because then the doctor was there, and he's just standing against the wall. Mind you, like, he's a good doctor, and everything was fine, but it was frustrating. He's just standing there, like, I'm not in severe pain, and like, oh, everything will be fine. And I was just like, everything will be fine? I was like, do you see me? Like, he's like, oh, you're strong, you'll be okay. And I was like, I just remember being so frustrated and telling them, like, you guys don't understand, like, this is serious. And I was continually puking, like, throughout this whole experience, which made it 100% worse. And then you were trying to help as much as possible.
I wasn't trying to help. I was helping big time, not trying to.
No, you were helping, and you definitely weren't taking away the pain, but you were helping.
They left us in the room, half of your pregnancy in that labor room with just two of us.
Yeah.
Just me and you.
Yeah.
And if it was not for my doctor skills,
oh gosh,
you would not have enjoyed that experience. Seriously.
I will say never. This is not but this is not professional advice, but never eat or drink. I will never, ever, ever do that. That was the worst thing. Like, it just, like, I literally felt like I was dying because the contractions were so bad. And then
you just
puking.
I think it depends. If you have bad puking reflexes, don't eat or drink.
Don't do it regardless.
Well, if you're good, like,
it's not worth the
solid,
risk.
it's okay.
It's not worth the risk.
One of the things that was in the hospital is that they try to encourage the husband to encourage the wife. These people are seeing you for the first time. Mind you, we live in an African country, so like most of the doctors are African, and they have a kind of way of respecting people from overseas. So every time Lexi wanted something, they're like, so they would whisper in my ear, and then so they're pushing me in case they're terrified. Besides, the doctor wasn't terrified of you, but those house midwives were literally a little not.
It was kind of weird, but anyways, I don't know. So going back, like, they gave us some medication. The contractions were getting severe. I remember them, like, the bed was here, and then there was like a wall of windows there, and they were all standing like against that in front of me. And I remember them going back and forth and saying, like, no, you still have like at least an hour or 1 to 3 hours before you give birth or something like that.
Right.
And I remember being like, I can't breathe. Like the contractions are not giving me a break anymore. And now you gave me this medicine that's going to kick in to speed them up. And I'm puking. I was like, no, I can't do this anymore. I was like, Cosmos, we need a solution. Like something needs to happen.
Yeah,
like,
there was
this
a
is
very
not okay.
tragic event whereby the nurse said she's ready. So we started trying. So we start trying back and forth.
This is after like I convinced them like I'm not okay. And they're like, okay, fine.
And
like
then
they left the room, and then like 2 minutes later they come in and they're like, we're gonna start pushing. And this is another one of those times that I was just like,
no, like
what happened?
There was a pain when the pain was too serious, and we knew that we were ready, and the doctor wasn't there. So I yelled at the lady. I was like, "Where is the doctor? I want a doctor right now."
Oh yeah.
Because you were yelling
the
at me.
midwife just kept saying like, "You'll be okay. You'll be okay."
He's like, "Touch her, give her water," and now all this. But then, the
you
pressure
demanded
was
for the doctor
because you were giving me also pressure, and I was like, I can't help you right now because
I felt like something like it had definitely increased, and something just like felt like so much pressure, but then it felt as if no one was giving it attention. So I was like, "Cosmos, we need to make sure like we're okay."
Yeah, and then you were like, I can't do this anymore. I want to give up. I'm just done. Just like whatever.
I was, mind you, so tired because I did not sleep. So I had not slept for like almost 24 hours at this point.
Right. And the thing was, I yelled at the nurse, and then the doctor, she runs out and then brings the doctor, and the doctor's like, I think you're ready. So that's when they stand behind the wall, and then they go out, they come back in, and say, let's start pushing. So then we start pushing, and this was not the easiest of the easiest. Halfway through that, the baby was, and then it was weird for me, but I wasn't terrified of anything like blood or whatever.
I think
Lexi
for me,
comes to me, and then she tells me, please do something. I cannot bear this pain. So there, I was like, I thought of the epidural, but it was too late. So
so he asked the doctor for the epidural, like, is it possible for her to get the epidural at this point? And he's like, no. Which, mind you, could it have been possible? Maybe, we don't know. But this doctor was definitely like leaning for us not to get it.
Natural birth.
So, which that's what we wanted anyways, and I'm glad that I didn't get it regardless.
You reached a point and it was just like very
I remember
weird.
It being just very bad, and the nurses that were in there, they were doing their job. That's fine. I don't think they were the most like comforting nurses that we probably could have gotten. And I think on top of that, just the cultural differences, especially when they would come in and they would start speaking Luganda, which was frustrating to me. And then like mid-birth, they're like, oh, they're asking him, does she speak Luganda? Does she? And I'm right here. I'm like, this is not the time to ask. Like, I'm frustrated. Like, we're trying to push this baby out. And so all of that. So I think at that point, it was a bit overwhelming just because I was in so much pain. I felt like no one was really, like, advocating for me at that time, other than, like, obviously you were, but the doctors weren't.
Right.
It felt like. And then they came in, and when they started going, it felt overwhelming because all these nurses came in, and they're like, you're going to push, you're going to do this.
Halfway through that, everything became intense. Like, the birth process became rapid. Everyone was screaming. Everyone was another. KLX was whispering to me in the ears, like, am I doing it? Am I doing okay? And I was like, I see the baby, keep pushing. The doctors are there. And then at just exactly 1:21, Oliver was born. And it was amazing. And Lexi was like,
I think, like, Cosmos's experience obviously was so different than mine. For you, I think during that pushing part was, like, it was a lot. Like, not to say it wasn't, but that was probably easier than when I was in the contractions leading up to it.
right.
But then, like, when people kept saying, like, keep pushing, he's almost there, keep pushing, he's almost there. Like, that was frustrating because I thought, like, 2 seconds and I'm done, where it was more like 10 minutes, 20 minutes and you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was hard. But then, like, after he came, it was just, they just automatically put him on my chest and he was crying and he was chewing on his little hand and he was like ready to eat. Like, he came out ready and excited. And I think after, you don't even think about pain anymore. Like, I wish, like, you could time the exact point that, like, everything stopped, but I was so exhausted. That's one thing I do wish. I don't even know if I've talked to you about it, but I do wish that I wasn't so exhausted leading up to birth, because once they put him on my chest, because I was so tired, I feel like I wasn't so present. I was more so just like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so tired. Like, I couldn't be super, super excited to be like, oh my gosh. And I know you even looked at me like, the baby's there. And I was like, I know. I was just like...
Yeah, so they put the baby
so
on top of you for connection, skin to skin, whatnot, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was there. I took some pictures, which I'll never share. Jokes on you. Those pictures were good. I saw him. I looked at the baby. And the first thing I saw is like, who does he look like? And we couldn't put a face on it. But we knew it was our baby, so we stayed in there. We were very excited. I texted our mentors. They were very excited. They were praying for us all that time.
Yeah, that time was nice because they had the birthing tub in there and stuff that we're able to have that time, which cousins helped a lot because obviously, like, I couldn't move so well. But to be able to have that time with me and you, and while the nurse was like measuring and doing whatever with the baby, which cousins got to cut the cord, he got to measure the baby, got to do the weight of him. Cool. But I do remember after birth, I will say that I was shaking like extremely bad.
Your legs and
like
everything.
Yeah, because I remember him doing the stitches and I was like, I'm shaking really bad. Like, I'm trying to be still for you, but like, I can't control it. And he's like, no, it's fine. But I also remember being in that position for so long that my legs were in so much pain. But yeah, I remember just shaking a lot, which I tend to shake normally, like even with caffeine.
Maybe you were just terrified. I was just gonna ask you that. What do you rate my support for that experience? Like, is that what you thought it was gonna be, or it was more or less or weird?
I don't think I can put a number because I don't know how to do that. But no, I think you're extremely supportive. Obviously, I couldn't do it without you, but I think for future babies, I think we'll be more aware of what to do or how to do it. Like, for instance, for what we knew, I think Cosmos was the most supportive that he could have possibly been. I think in the future would probably, which people told us this, I just didn't listen, to do some sort of birthing class or something to be able to know how to, like,
we missed all
contradict the pain during contractions.
Yeah,
or
there are things that you have to say and things you're not supposed to say. And most of the times I was silent, not saying things because I was checking in my brain, is this the right thing to say or not?
Yeah.
But the good part was like I was there just holding you,
yeah, but I definitely couldn't, like, I don't know, there's some people here that will go in and either not have someone go with them and just rely on the nurses, or they'll have just someone random. And I don't know how they do that because Cosmos was like holding me up. I remember at one point before labor, the lady wanted me to get in like this squatting position on the table, and I remember it being the most painful thing in the world.
Right.
And I definitely, like, there's no chance I would have done it with a nurse. Like, there's no chance. After that birth, we got to go back to the room. Cosmos got to carry the baby back, and they pushed me back in the wheelchair.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
That was so sweet to see.
Like every time he tried to cry,
squirming around.
Yeah, I would call him by his name, and he would hear my voice, and it would just be done. So,
yeah, I do remember that. Actually, it really did happen. Like, every time he would get a little bit frustrated.
Yeah.
as soon as Cosmos would start talking, he would stop, and that was really sweet.
And he would hear, like, who is that? That's my dad. That's right there. And then it was amazing.
We had a couple minutes, like, because my mom and a friend of ours brought my mom up to the hospital so that she could be there after Oliver was born, and we got to go back to the room and get settled in, and I just really wanted to make sure that he could eat, so we fed him first before anyone came in. But that time was, I think, when I look back, I'm really appreciative of that time, because I just like feel like it was so still. Like, it was still and it was peaceful. Like, It was just me and you and our baby, and obviously like the workers, the lactation specialist came in and helped with the feeding and all of that, but it was just really like crazy. Like, we had a baby. And
yeah, I mean, just circling back, I just have one question for you. What is that one thing that we took to the hospital we necessarily did not need, or like we just
there's
didn't?
a million things that we didn't need. Some things that we thought we would use and we didn't, but also things that like they told us to bring and we didn't use.
Yeah, this
like,
is just like if you've watched one of our
really.
videos of the things that we took to the hospital, literally 9 out of 10 of those things we didn't get to use.
Yeah.
We did not. And if there was something I would have carried for myself, would be like bed cover or something, like a bed sheet.
Or like a blanket.
Yeah, as I just laid there and all, whatever. But then carry your cameras, carry everything. I mean, the things that we took.
So we stayed there for the rest of that day, which, mind you, if he was born at 1:21, it was probably a couple hours to like 3 something by the time we got back to the room.
Right.
Probably 4 or 5 by the time we really were settled and he was eating.
Oh, yeah.
So then we stayed that night and didn't leave until the next morning.
What is the one awkward thing at the hospital or in the labor room that you just had to like let go? Like,
there's nothing that you can explain that giving birth is like, because you're in such a vulnerable state, but you have no control. Like, I'm 90% sure that some point during labor, because whoever put the gown on me or whatever it was, it kept getting twisted everywhere, and I'm like 90% sure that they removed that at some point. So I don't even know if I was even clothed during that entire process, which is like, obviously you would never in a million years want to be naked in front of 7 people in the nursing anywhere in life. But it's like, that wasn't even a thought in my mind until you think back at it.
yeah, because like you just give up everything, and it's a different experience, because like I think your brain prepares for that and just writes it off, and you're like, this is the moment. I guess I can't care about privacy, I can't do all that.
Yeah, but we're very lucky. Like, even like going back to when we got into the room and all of that,
Yeah.
it's like Oliver ate right away, which I know not everyone is as privileged to have that. He
Right.
slept really well. He really didn't cry. He still really doesn't cry that much. And he still sleeps pretty good. And then for me, as far as like recovery, I know that we bought that's a ton of stuff in the hospital bag that we had was for recovery, because I'm constantly seeing on social media that you need all this stuff. And I didn't use like any of it. Like, I don't even know if I used one thing of it. And I did tear. I don't know how. I don't think I tore.
So the doctor did. It's called a controlled tear,
which I
something
didn't
like
want.
that.
So that was one thing that was very frustrating about the
There's
birth.
one thing you were praying about, like you were not okay with.
Yeah, but
And
then
then the doctor did it, but then he did it in a way that if you turn this, it way it's easier to heal or whatever. So that you
but I
don't
didn't
tear
want
the
him
other-
to do it. Like, I didn't want the
Right.
doctor
He
to
didn't.
do
He
it.
didn't ask. He didn't ask
he didn't
us or
ask. I
whatever.
didn't know what was
so
going
he
on.
He just
But
did
it's
it.
just one of those things that it's like it's in the past, whatever. But I mean, I can't compare it to obviously not tearing and how that recovery
Right,
was,
looks
because
like, yeah.
that's all I know. But I do know, like, I think it was definitely hard to walk for couple days, but it wasn't impossible. I think the biggest thing
You
was
healed like
sitting.
you healed good.
Because I remember
because,
coming home I was
we
going
pushed
slow.
you in a wheelchair going to the room, but then from there coming back home, you sat right in the front. We took a selfie. We
I sat in
drove
the
back
back.
here,
Yeah.
and you were like not
But I was still moving
stable,
slow.
but yeah, you were
Yeah.
catching up.
So it
real
was
good.
like painful, but it wasn't anything that like I was scared. Like I think I was more scared for the recovery because of like what people say and like being home and not having resources here that
Right.
would help. But I didn't use anything that we bought for that, and luckily everything was fine. So
Yeah, for me
I'm thankful
personally,
for that.
for me, the things I would recommend for people to take is I like to take a snack.
Our snacks were probably the most used thing we had.
Yeah, we had good snacks there. Our mentors packed us a boatload of good snacks that I loved,
Yeah.
and
And maybe comfortable clothes, like
yeah, very comfortable.
and then
clothes.
obviously toiletries because I did shower before I came home, just because we knew we'd
The
have
other-
people waiting for us.
I mean, the other thing is, I don't know, people who are in very civilized areas, you already have credit cards and all that, but just carry extra money beyond what they ask for because there are always uncertainties. But other than that, everything else, with the hospital that we went to, everything else was provided from food, beddings and all that, and then
Yeah, which we ended up, a friend of ours came to the hospital and we ended up ordering food for me, but then you were able to eat the hospital food, which worked out really good.
I had a fish. I love fish. Who doesn't love tilapia?
Yeah.
It was good.
But
It was
all in all, I think like our birth went very well. Like I've heard a lot of horror stories about either the baby not being the best or the mom or just things happening, unexpected things happening, and we were really thankful that
yeah.
we really did. As much as it was hard, like I won't question that. It was definitely very hard and very just trying on your body, I think.
Yeah.
I think if I wrapped it all up in like one thing that I wish was really different, I truly think if I had more energy, if I was able to sleep, which obviously I can't control this,
Right.
but if I was able to go in with energy, I think it really would have made the entire experience different. Like I was well over at this point, thinking like we got back into our room around 5 something, getting settled. Like I hadn't slept in almost 2 days at that point because
Yeah.
it was the following day. So that was hard, and I think that made everything else hard. I remember kept telling you that I was just tired. Like I'm so tired. Like I want to try my best. Like I want to do my best, but my body is like it's
Just can't take it anymore.
yeah.
Thing
It's
is
hard.
Thing is like with the baby brings joy,
Mhm.
but the baby sleeps for like about 30 minutes and then wakes up 30 minutes. If you're not used to that, because a normal human being sleeps, Oliver is waking up. A normal human being sleeps and then just like rests for at least 4 hours and then wakes up. And for that case that Oliver is about to wake up, we need
Should I
to
give
wrap.
him his passy?
Oh, he's awake.
Oliver's back again.
He's back. That's one of the things I was just. What fell? Okay, that's one of the things I was just talking about. Is as soon as they always tell you to rest before the baby comes, but if you don't, this is what you're gonna face every 15 minutes, every 20 minutes. He wakes up, and every one of you is just gonna be all about him, and you have to support your wife in the night and all that. Which I thought I was a night person, but so far I've learned that it is nothing to do with the night person, because when you grab sleep as an adult, you want to sleep. But for him, he doesn't care. So he wakes up and all
in
that.
the night. The best advice is in the night, not during the day. In the night, sleep when your baby sleeps.
Yes, go to bed when your baby is sleeping. So when he wakes up, you're waking up at the same time. Just go on to his
During the day, though,
schedule.
you have to get things done while he
Yeah.
sleeps. But during the night, you have got to sleep when he sleeps. And
Yeah.
it's not that bad. Like, if you go in with a mindset that you can do it, you can. Like, since he was born, had woke up every 2 hours, and we had to tend to him. And that's just what it is. But your body gets used to it. I was so worried, and because I'm not a night person, and I desperately need sleep because otherwise I don't function well. But it's like your body gets used to it, and when you have the baby, God gives you a certain type of grace that you can handle it, and it's okay. And you just have to get into a routine and a schedule, and that's what we've done. I don't think our routine right now is perfect by any means, but we've made do with it, and we have a happy baby.
Yeah, it happens to us husbands that you would see your wife feeling all this pain and is just like groaning and all those things, and you were like, give me half of that or all of it until the time of giving birth, and it's just hard.
I mean, you could definitely tell I could tell on your face that you were concerned. And I wouldn't say for husbands to hide that, because, I mean, maybe if it will stress your wife, but for me it was like, okay, I know that Cosmos is also worried and doesn't know what to do, but him being there was enough.
Right.
And you just have to know that, like, you guys can do it together. And for me, I just had the peace because I had prayed every single day for that specific room that we were giving birth in. And I knew that while we're in it, like, God's in control, and there's nothing that we can do to change that. And I think that's why I had peace, and no matter what happened, just because, like, your story is already written. Like, God already has a plan for you and your baby and your family.
And yeah,
you're not going to change that by stressing.
Addition to that is that at the end of the day, we're all humans, and once in a while, things cross your mind. What if the baby is not this? Even to the day of giving birth, I thought, what if he comes back and he's a girl? Because you've seen the video where I thought he was going to be a girl and all that. So there's always going to be things that you're thinking in your mind, but whatever you do, just trust. And I guess that's about us today.
Yeah, sorry that our story is a bit chaotic.
Yeah.
But hey, that's life with a 3-month-old, you know? He's a great baby, but babies are babies, and they get squirmy, and someone's getting squirmy, so we gotta go.
Yeah, so if you've not subscribed, please hit the subscription button. I don't know if Oliver is gonna allow us to end this video. And you can share this video with someone who is expecting, and if you have questions, like personal questions, just hit us those questions. And with that said, that's about us. We are the Omas. Peace out.
Bye.